Hello, this is Pastor Terry Goodman, and I want to welcome you to the Wesleyan Connection. This podcast is primarily for the clergy and laity of the Holston Annual Conference. Join with me now as I take a look around the Connection and share some of the things happening in the churches of our annual conference. Good morning, Holston Annual Conference. This is Pastor Terry Goodman, and I welcome you to another episode of the Wesleyan Connection podcast. This week, I'm going to begin a series of podcasts each Wednesday morning that are taken from our 2017 annual conference session. I recorded a few of the sessions, and I'm going to be sharing excerpts from those sessions with you. Today, I want to begin with the Harry-Denman Evangelism Awards. For me, that's always a very special time at annual conference. A couple of years ago, my eldest son, David, was a recipient of the youth category in the Harry-Denman Evangelism Awards. And so I have a special place in my heart for these awards. They are a reflection of how God can work in our lives to use us so that we can reach out and share the good news of Jesus Christ. And so I just invite you to sit back and to listen as the story is told about each of these persons, and then their name is revealed, beginning with the laity, then the laity youth, and then the clergy. And also, there are some rather lengthy parts of applause, 30 seconds or more, most of with these various persons that I have had to try to edit out. Please, I acknowledge that they were well received, and you should understand they were well received as well, with much more applause than what you hear in this particular podcast. Just needed to do that for time constraints. And so I welcome you now to listen to this podcast and hear who our Denman Evangelism Award winners were at the Holston Annual Conference 2017.
Now, some more good news that I get to share with you. Last year, Holston Conference reported 1,996 professions of faith. And I think that's something we should celebrate. All right. Every one of those lives tell a story. The story that you saw, I hope, will inspire you to copy this idea and take it to where you are serving and where your church is and impact your neighborhoods. The church has no greater opportunity than right now to make a difference in sharing the transforming love of Christ with the world. So the stories that you are going to hear about our Denman Award winners, I hope that they too will encourage you that through all of the things that we might get wrong and all the things that we do right, God's work is still being done, and the power of the Holy Spirit is still at work in people's lives and bringing that change and bringing that hope and bringing the good news to all of this world. John Wesley said, he wrote, "You have nothing to do but to save souls. Therefore, spend and be spent in this work." When we talk about those that receive the Harry-Denman Award for Excellence in Evangelism, this is their passion and this is their heart. They live to share Jesus Christ with the world. And they serve in the context of their ministry so well, and they adjust to whatever the situation might bring. The nominees this year were very difficult to choose from. And we spent a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time in discussion, and we came up with 3 world-class recipients of this. This prestigious recognition is given in honor of Harry Denman, whose service and commitment to Methodism spanned more than 60 years. He wrote that the only way that we see Christ is to see him wrapped up in a person. Evangelism can only be seen in a person. And we need to become a package of love, a package of faith, a package of Christ. Then we become a package of evangelism. The Harry-Denman Evangelism Award was begun and is sponsored by the Foundation for Evangelism ever since 1981 as a way to honor United Methodist clergy, laity, and youth at each annual conference. who exhibit unusual and outstanding efforts in their work in Christian evangelism. And we know that evangelism happens in many contexts, in many settings, and impacts and engages all generations. It requires relationship among a variety of persons. And what distinguishes a Harry-Denman Evangelism Award recipient is the commitment to consistency to introduce others to Jesus Christ, who credit encounters with this person as critical in helping them start or reignite their faith journey. I encourage you, as the representative of the Holston Conference witness team, to apply for our ministry grants that we give out every year. That we were so impressed with what Rich Creek was doing that we wanted to be a part of that. And I know that there are many other ministries out there that just need a little bit of boost, whether it be funds or affirmation. We encourage you to seek that and apply now for those grant requests. Also, if you know someone who excels in reaching people for Christ, who leads people into professions of faith, I encourage you now to nominate them for this prestigious award. It is truly an honor to announce this year's recipients of the Harry-Denman Award for Excellence in Evangelism. I'm going to share their stories, and then we'll invite them to come up and receive this award. And then I would ask those that had a part in their nomination to come up and stand with them and enjoy that moment as we celebrate together. First, from our laity. This year's Harry-Denman Evangelism Award recipient has 19 years of full-time service in her church. According to her pastor, she serves her church with a passion to share the love of Christ with everyone she encounters, especially those that have been broken by the world. She completely and fully lives her life as a true servant of God, embodying the love and humility of Christ in all places in her life and ministry. Her heart is sharing Christ with children, and she has served as director of children's ministries in her church for the past 5.5 years. Last summer, under her leadership, 23 children gave their life to Christ during Vacation Bible School. And from January 2016 to April 30th, 2017, 30 children and middle schoolers have been baptized, as well as some of their parents. This is the testimony of one of those families whose lives was transformed by Christ. They write, "My family has been attending this church for a little over a year. She has taught my children the importance of loving the Lord with all their hearts through fun, games, Bible studies, and prayer. With her teachings, my 2 oldest children have been saved and baptized. She has had an amazing impact on my life as a mother, as well as my children. Her willingness to always lend an ear, focus on the families together in faith, eagerness to help with any questions you have along your faith journey has brought my family closer to God." Isn't that what it's all about? This is from a 12-year-old in her church. Throughout the past 2 years, I participated in the Wednesday night Bible study that she leads. During this time, she has helped me to have a deeper understanding of Jesus and how to be a better follower of Christ. I've since dedicated my life to Christ, and she played an important role in that, and I love her so much. She continues to help all people see their sacred worth in the eyes of God. Please join me in congratulating this year's Laity Harry-Denman Evangelism Award recipient from Kodak United Methodist Church, Miss Patsy Dalton. If I'm not mistaken, there's some of the children whose lives that she has touched here. So if you would stand, if you're from Kodak United Methodist Church, will you please stand? Back here and over there. Now, every single year we try to keep the winners under wraps, so she had no idea why she's here. And if they do, they may not come. So. From our youth, It's so important for our youth and our children to find a nurturing home in their local church, and those that will be patient with them, and those that will teach them, and those that will guide their lives as their hearts and minds and souls are being shaped. This year's Harry Denman Evangelism Award recipient shows us just how important it is. She became a member of her church at the age of 12 following confirmation class, and this ignited a passion to serve Christ by serving others in her heart. According to one of her nominators, she wanted everyone to know her friend Jesus. And this passion extends from the littlest child to her peers, to folks her parents' age, all the way to older folks and everyone who is considered the least and the last and the lost. She is described as having a light inside of her that is truly the light of Christ. Her love of God and willingness to serve others is contagious. She is compassionate, caring, and giving. She is a person who is a leader and continues to grow in her evangelistic skills and will no doubt do greater things for God and His kingdom. This summer, she plans to be a part of the Youth Conference Youth Mission Team as they work to help those who are victims of the recent fires in Gatlinburg. She is also currently attending leadership camp at Camp Dickinson. These opportunities will continue to help her grow and develop her passion for reaching people for Christ in her life. In addition, she's the youngest member of the United Methodist Women in her church and helps in many projects, Fellowship of Christian Athletes in her school, and Girl Scouts. And she frequently serves her community by helping with her church's soup kitchen. She is always ready to talk to anyone and everyone about her faith and her love for Jesus Christ. According to her pastor, she lives the transforming love of Christ every day and desires others to experience it too. I'm proud to announce and ask that you join me in congratulating this year's Youth Harry Denman Evangelism Award recipient from Mount Olivet United Methodist Church, Miss Erin Elizabeth Bowman. And no doubt God will continue to use her in many great ways in years to come. Finally, from our clergy category, and again, this year we had some great nominees, and it was a struggle to pick one, but through prayer and God's guidance, we did just that. And this year's Harry Denman Evangelism Award recipients is described as being one of our most inspiring clergy in the Holston Conference. I don't know of anyone that would disagree. He has set the bar very high in service through humility and obedience to God's plan. The church in which he serves has had tremendous growth under his leadership, which includes over 191 professions of faith and a staggering growth in worship attendance. This pastor has a passion for helping people receive Jesus in their life for the first time or to renew a relationship with the Lord, and is willing to go anywhere and do anything, whatever it takes, to make this happen in someone's life. Much like the life of Harry Denman, this pastor uses non-traditional ways to reach unchurched people. And just like Harry Denman, he has a deep fire in his soul to win people for Jesus. He is a very gifted preacher who is able to make the message of the gospel accessible to anyone and everyone. And every time he preaches, he has the mindset that this is a potential moment that someone will accept Jesus into their lives, and there's always an invitation to do so. Yes, altar calls still do matter. One of his greatest gifts as an evangelist is his ability to connect on a deep level, on a relational level, with those who are not familiar with the church, or even those who have been harmed by the church in their lives. He understands that his ministry is often most effective when it extends beyond the walls of the church in places such as ball fields, grocery stores, and even gas stations. He is always looking for ways to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. Please join me in congratulating this year's Clergy Harry Denman Evangelism Award recipient from Cokesbury United Methodist Church, Reverend Stephen Defer. Now I hope that you've been inspired. be reminded that God has given us everything that we need to accomplish His work. Let us win souls for Christ. What if every church in Holston Conference this time last year were able to report at least one profession of faith?
You mean next year?
This next year.
Okay.
Next year. From this point on, I know it can be done, and I know that God will allow it and He will give us those opportunities. Thank you, Holston Conference.
This is Pastor Goodman. Thanks for listening to this edition of the Wesleyan Connection. Be sure to check back often for more podcasts.